Welcome to Head Full of Radio, where a longtime Radiohead fan goes through the whole recorded discography alongside his friend, who's only familiar with the song Creep. Will we agree on the songs? Can I convert him into a fan? Let's find out.
Welcome to episode 85. We're getting into the fall, people. It's fall time, and we're electioneering today. Now I don't know what to say about the rest of the preamble. Hello, Nico. Welcome.
Hello. So I've just heard the name of this week's song, and I actually did not realize it was Electioneering, which I'm very curious what that's going to be about. And yeah, I'm just curious, especially after what we had last week. It's set up for some sort of expectation, but I'm not sure what. I'm expecting something that's not quite the same as what. Not that everything's been the same anyway, but I'm curious what. I'm always curious, but again, there's a specific level of what's this going to be about.
Well, and the turn from fitter happier will bridge into this. You'll sort of hear a turn in the way the album is constructed for the next couple of songs, anyway.
That's really cool, because that's what I'm hoping for.
Electioneering is the album's most directly political song. It has lyrics inspired by the poll tax riots. Do you know what the poll tax riots were?
I don't. But I do remember you hinting about something about British history, so presumably it's going to be in that realm.
Have you ever been to Trafalgar Square?
Trafalgar Square?
Trafalgar Square? Okay, sorry, I said that wrong.
It's okay. I'm allowed to correct you.
The poll tax riots were a series of riots in British towns and cities during protests against the community charge introduced by the Conservative government of Margaret Thatcher. The largest protest occurred in central London in March of 1990. You weren't born then, right?
I was not, but I'm probably still going to get roasted for not knowing.
Shortly before the tax was due to come into force in England and Wales. So the advent of the poll tax was due to an effort to alter the way the tax system was used to fund local government in the UK.
Okay.
The system in place until that time was called rates and had been in place in some form from the beginning of the 17th century. It had been described as a levy on property, which in modern times saw each taxpayer paying a rate based on the estimated rental value of their home.
This is so interesting, because I somewhat recently, I won't say had an argument with my grandmother, but my grandmother is Greek Cypriot, and she's recently sold her home in Cyprus, and she was talking to me about the rates that they pay, and I was like, "What do you mean? What rates?" And she was like, "That's just the word you use for it, blah blah blah." And I was all like, "I don't know if this is a language barrier thing or if I'm just being an idiot."
So now I'm telling you where she got that from.
Yeah, so this is a thing. So you've contextualized something completely by chance, and that's really cool.
So the proposed replacement was a flat rate per capita community charge, a head tax that saw every adult pay a fixed rate amount set by their local authority, which was called poll tax.
Okay.
So the band,
they must have had some opinions on that.
Had some opinions on it, yes. York likened the lyrics, which focus on political and artistic compromise, to a preacher ranting in front of a bank of microphones. He said, "What can you say about the International Monetary Fund or politicians or people selling arms to African countries, employing slave labor or whatever? What can you say? You just write down cattle prods and the IMF, and people who know."
So true.
Ed O'Brien said the song could also be a little bit about promotional cycle of touring. After a while, you feel like a politician who has to kiss babies and shake hands all day long.
Okay.
Yeah. And Johnny takes it all together and says it's noisy, fast, Radiohead on steroids, more about personal politics, selling yourself in a band.
Oh, okay. So this is the first taster of potentially what the sound is going to be. So I'm already, it's got my ears pricking up now, just being like, oh.
I'll give you one last quote from Tom. A lot of it is about disaffection. I'll give you one more quote from Tom. A lot of it is about disaffection. I switch on the TV and there's all these irons and fridges coming at you. Watching a Tory MP electioneering, cheering wildly when someone threw eggs at him, but feeling like I'd seen this once too often. Economics, they fascinate me. Economics are the 20th century's greatest myth. There's been a lot of looking at headlines and feeling wildly impotent. Electioneering is an incitement riot. And there you go.
There you go. And like, it just goes to show, like, that was written, or like
1997
quotes were from a while ago, and I think the sentiment still very much holds about a lot of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you do get very, like, I guess, disaffected, as he called it, or disillusioned with what's going on around you. And again, we've spoken about this sort of idea, even just with like again, I always go back to that letdown, because I feel like that, for me, it was like really captured a lot of those feelings really well. So it's really nice when this whole theme is obviously like consistent, and they just have different songs to illustrate that.
Yeah, and this is considered one of the most rock-oriented and heaviest tracks Radiohead has had up to this point.
Oh, very cool then. I'm super excited.
Are you ready?
I hope so. Let's do it.
Go!
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Love that cowbell.
I feel like it's kind of been like not like a taunt, but like it's kind of been like a call. It's like to respond to on like the dance floor or whatever. Like, go up and face your opponent sort of thing. I can't really explain it. Yeah, you definitely feel the rocky vibe in his voice.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like a dance.
I love the lines in this chorus.
Yeah, it's very, like, simple, but, like, you can interpret it in so many different ways that it just feels very poignant.
Absolutely.
Fun.
This is the first time I've ever listened to the lyrics along with the song.
Okay. And how are you feeling about that?
Just, I always wondered what he was yelling there, the IMF.
Gotcha. Definitely popping my head along.
Yeah.
Ooh. I wasn't expecting that. I kind of thought we were getting close to being done, but I'm glad we're not.
Cool ending.
Yeah. Very cool. I enjoyed that.
There's electioneering.
Electioneering indeed.
Mhm.
And I like how, like, it's very fitting now that I know what they're referring to.
Yeah.
Like, because I assume electioneering isn't actually a word. Maybe it is.
In the
but
process of doing electiony things?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very much capturing the vibe of, like, that.
Yeah.
It's like this vague thing that they do, this dance, this, you go, like, it's all, like, this fluff.
Right.
And I feel like it captures that very well. And nothing really makes sense because it's all, like, obfuscated and just, like, who knows what means anything anymore. Like, it's all just reached this point where it's like, what the hell's going on? But we've got to dance the dance. We just got to find a way to, quote unquote, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You just got to keep trudging along, pretending that you're an adult and that you're functioning, and, like, it makes sense to you too. And, like, you know, like, we're all riding this weird thing that's happening and all pretending like, you know, it makes sense somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, I feel like it captured a lot of that sort of a vibe in, like, a cool, like, with just really enjoyable music. Like, I would say I'm not sure if I feel like he could have, like, gone for it a bit more.
In what way?
Like, I feel like part of me might have appreciated, like, a fuller vocal on top of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I do love his vocals, but, like, it's like part of it was almost like stylized in a way that then I might have liked someone, like, maybe, like, for the intensity of what was going on in the background, liked, like, a more, like, raw sort of, like, belty vibe.
Gotcha.
To just kind of, but, like, again, at the same time, what he's doing makes sense in the context of, like, this, like, cloudiness of, like, it's all not clear cut and it's like this vagary. So in the sense of, like, thematically, I feel like it works. It's just for the sound, I might have liked something kind of, like, even stronger on the top.
Loudiness.
Yes, loudiness. I'm bringing it with the the technicality today.
Good.
The vagary and all the words.
Gotcha.
So with that in mind, I think I'm going to give it an Ed and a half. Like, I really enjoyed it, but, like, I think that like, yeah, that just extra bit. And I forget that we do have a cover coming up, so I'm curious if that's something that might be potentially on the menu. We'll see.
I think I'm going to stick with you in the Ed and a halfiness. And the loudiness of I've always liked the jangly tone. I think the guitar makes me think of jangles, you know, just blah, 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 right? I've always liked that it again, another song that sort of fits perfectly with where Fitter Happier was. It's a good extension of where that came from into where the band's mind is. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even touch on that. That's so true.
So we're going to go listen to Electioneering, which is performed by the Portland Cello Project and their friends.
Oh, interesting.
And for maybe the first and only time we'll see an oboe on our podcast. Here we go. How about that?
Very cool.
Look at that one in the front there, just killing that.
Yeah. That's something you see every day.
It certainly gives the song a different vibe, doesn't it?
100%.
I wonder what it would be like being in the audience and not being a Radiohead fan, or not knowing a deep Radiohead cut and wondering what they were doing.
Right. Yeah, I wonder what the set list was like for these people. Like, is this out of place? Is
I
this
don't know.
on, like, theme?
I don't know.
I'm so curious.
And there you go. There's the Portland Cello Project with their friends.
Hearing it like that, I feel like it does give me more appreciation for the way the original song. That sounds like me being like shady towards that cover, but like I feel like it again, like it's like by like shifting the angle so much, like that tiny bit,
Yep.
you get more like 3D-ness of the original, and like kind of seeing, okay, that's why that makes sense.
That's
in the
good.
sense that I think like the way it was sung by them, you almost hear like the like, for want of a better term, like fakeness. Like it was like the lyrics weren't being sold, but I feel like that's almost like the point.
Right. I
Like,
understand that.
In that, like you're just saying the fluff, and you like holding the note. Whereas like someone who's speaking with more like intentionality, or not intentionality, but like off the cuff, like you think of a lot of great sort of like charismatic speakers, and like a lot of things kind of not seeming very rehearsed, and it like comes across very like snappy. And I think maybe that's what I wasn't getting from the original, and it's like almost now I can appreciate that it specifically wasn't that, because that's its own thing. If that makes any sense, but it makes sense in my mind.
Makes sense to me.
So yeah, like that kind of gave me some appreciation that it's like almost like specifically purposefully that done that way.
Thank you. That was a fantastic take on it.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed listening. I always love this way of like listening to the songs, because it does, just 3Dify them that bit more.
Yeah.
So
And-
very, very cool.
And listening to you talk makes me feel a little smarter.
Oh, I love to take that as like, wow,
Yeah.
okay. At least I'm not that guy.
That's probably the accent.
Maybe.
I'll see you next week, sir.
All right, catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is recorded on Discord and is edited in GarageBand. The intro and outro music are Radiohead covers and can be found on Spotify under the band Lift. That's Lifte, with F as in Foxtrot. Also, find us on TikTok and Vimeo under the name @Headful of Radio.